I believe it's safe to say that many of us wish our lives could be better. We all have our own reasons why we desire this. Maybe it's because we're not as successful in our personal life, and you may wish to be more financially stable. You may currently have no job at all, and if not for a gracious family member or friend, you'd be on the streets. Perhaps you might be neither of these, but just want to become rich for the sole purpose of living a life of bliss and luxury. It could be a matter of love. Maybe you're tired of the perpetual bad luck that has plagued your love life, and all you want is to finally find the person of your dreams. You might be terminally ill, cursed with an untreatable disease, and have been told that you only have 18 months to live. It could be power or respect you crave. You might be dead tired of people never taking you seriously or considering your opinions, or downright acting as if you don't exist. You're tired of people walking all over you, treating you like dirt, and making you feel like you'll never amount to anything worth being proud of. These, of course, are only the most general of examples. As stated before, we all have our own reasons why we are unhappy with our current situation. But for as long as human history has persisted, any and all reasons that cause humans to feel insignificant or inadequate can ultimately be remedied by gaining one of 4 particular things: wealth, health, love, and respect. Truth is, it matters not what it is you desire. For you, it may be something entirely different. Whatever you desire, you obviously crave in your life enough that you are reading this. But that begs the conciding question: is it really possible to get what it is you want? And if so, how? The first answer is yes. As for the second, here is what you do. If you find yourself in any particularly rural area of North America, then it will be particularly easy to find the path to those who might grant your request. Otherwise, you have some traveling to do. You will need a fully functional vehicle with a full tank of fuel, preferably not an ATV or similar. If you choose this type of transportation, you are almost certain to fail. You will need an item that holds some degree of sentimental value to your life. A silver dollar that is actually made of silver, any with a date of 1964 or older for American currency. Otherwise, some sort of genuine silver coin. A means of puncturing yourself. One of those diabetic test finger prickers is usually the best and the least painful and messy bet. And a roll of black duct tape or gaff tape. This ritual must begin once the sun is set on the 12th day of the month, or very early in the morning of the 13th day, depending on your location. Just make sure you have enough time to reach the appropriate destination before 3 a.m., but no earlier than 12 a.m. This ritual will not work at any other time or day of the month, as it is only during this window that the path to your destination will present itself. Take your items, your puncturing device, silver dollar, and duct tape, and get in your vehicle. Now, drive to wherever the closest rural highway is and pull over somewhere close to it. At this point, take the tape and completely black out your rear view and side mirrors. Make sure no reflective surface of them is exposed. If you do not, you will not be able to successfully proceed, and it will cause great problems for you later on. You can do this before you depart if you wish, but it is not recommended for obvious driving safety reasons. At this point, get back into your vehicle and pull onto the highway in question, and keep driving until you begin to notice that there is no traffic for several minutes. Again, Make sure to do so between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. The traffic should be next to nothing by this time. Now, bring your vehicle to a complete stop in the middle of the road. Close your eyes, put both hands on the wheel, and say the following phrase. I travel this road to make myself anew. I repent from my past self and give myself in whole to the path ahead. My future is mine to take. Keep your eyes closed and visualize what it is you want in your mind. Imagine yourself living the life you desire, full, accomplished, and complete. Once you feel a sense of being at ease and peaceful from the painted picture in your mind, put your vehicle into gear and continue back on the road. This next bit is important. You must drive exactly 58 miles per hour. If you are not familiar with the empirical measurements, then you will need to do the necessary conversions. Accelerate your vehicle to this speed and hold it as steady as you possibly can. If you have cruise control, then this will be particularly easy. Otherwise, you will just have to be as steady on the gas pedal as possible. You will drive for between 35 to 50 minutes, if reports are to be trusted. After such time, assuming you are still within the 12 to 3 a.m. window, you will begin to see a heavy fog before you at ground level on the road. At this point, if you did not already have both hands on the wheel, put them both on the wheel and look intentionally forward, paying only attention to the road ahead of you. The fog will be very thick, and it will almost seem impossible to drive this speed without veering off the road. But do not falter. Stay vigilant and continue driving forward. If you have fog lights, then you had best use them. Otherwise, keep your brights off and do your very best. You must keep both hands on the steering wheel. You will drive through the fog for approximately 1 minute, seeing only the road immediately in front of your hood and nothing surrounding you. For all you know, you might as well be driving right through a cloud in midair. If you were to look down at your fuel gauge, you would notice that your fuel capacity has greatly diminished. This is why it is important that you always start this ritual with a full tank, regardless of how fuel efficient your vehicle is. It was never built for this world. The place you are now entering does not often abide by the common laws of physics or thermodynamics as you have been taught. At this point, you will begin to see the faint lights of a gas station sign on the left-hand side of the road in front of you. Once it comes into view, the fog will begin to diminish, and you may now begin to slow down as you will need to pull into it. The gas station will appear as they did in the mid-late 80s. The sign will be solid white, with only a single black square diagonally cut, creating a black triangle on the left side and a red on the right. The gas station building itself will have no particular markings, but it will look as if it were built many years ago. It will have 2 rows of gas pumps, one on either side, and will have a single pump with 3 buttons, which would normally indicate fuel octane level. At this place, however, the buttons will be totally blank with no text adorning them, and there will be no credit card slot, only a single coin slot immediately next to the gas nozzle. Once you pull up next to the pump, it doesn't matter which, take out your cutting device and pierce yourself on your body, preferably a finger as it will be the least intrusive, and smear a few drops of your blood onto your sentimental object. Now, carrying said object and your silver dollar with you, get out of your car and proceed to walk into the store. It's important to observe whom is behind the counter. If you see a tall, heavy-set bald man with a long salt and pepper beard and unnaturally bright green eyes, you are in luck. If the person you see matches any other description, then, without saying a word, exit the gas station Insert your silver dollar into the pump by which you are parked. All 3 buttons will light up, but you do not need to press any of them. Simply remove the nozzle and begin to fill your tank. It doesn't matter if your vehicle is gas or diesel or whatever recommended octane level. It will fill your vehicle with the correct fuel type. No one who have gotten to this point knows how, but it does nonetheless. When the fuel pump clicks off, hang it up, get back into your vehicle, and proceed in the direction from which you came. You will not encounter fog, but will simply drive until you reach the highway entrance from what you started. At this point, proceed back home and attempt the ritual again on the same day of the next month. Again, if the reports are to be trusted, it will only take a maximum of 3 attempts before the right person is behind the counter, so do not be discouraged if the first 1 or 2 times it is not the right person. In case you were wondering, yes, you may use the same items that you had gathered the first time you attempted the ritual. Though, you will need to re-prick your finger and drip new blood onto your object of sentimental value, as it must be fresh. If you see the correct person behind the counter, then this is how to proceed. Approach the counter with your object and say nothing. The man will not move or say anything. Stop directly in front of the counter. Sit your sentimental object and coin on the countertop and say the following. I am a traveler who seeks great change on the uncertain road ahead. Will you grant me safe passage? The man will utter something of a slight smile and take your item and place it under the counter. He will then take from his shirt pocket a gold coin and place it in front of you, saying nothing. The coin will have no text. Its only marking will be the same symbol from the gas station sign. Without saying anything else, take the coin, exit the building, and walk over to the same gas pump you're parked by. Insert the coin into the slot. All 3 unmarked buttons will light up. Without pressing any of them, remove the nozzle and fill your tank. When the pump clicks off, hang it up, get in your vehicle, and proceed in the direction you were initially traveling. It is important to realize that there is no turning back at this point. By relinquishing your blood, silver dollar, and sentimental object, you've willingly and permanently divested yourself of your only connection to your own dimension. Attempting to turn around will result in driving on a never-ending road with nothing but thick fog for company. Your only way to return to the real world is to follow through with the ritual. A few miles down the road, you will see a green sign with the word Destiny written in white. To the right of it will be a particular number, indicating the number of miles until your destination. This, apparently, is a different number for everyone. It will be no less than 100 and no more than 211 miles. But you must drive without stopping. The speed you drive does not matter, but it is recommended that you don't drive too fast as the road is heavily weathered. There will be occasional clusters of potholes, cracks in the pavement, and other obstacles that you must look out for. After however many miles of driving the previous sign indicated, you will eventually see a light in the distance. This light is coming from an old house just off the highway. This is your destination, and this is also the next part of your journey. Pull into the driveway, park your vehicle, and cut the engine. Make sure all of your windows are up and your doors are locked. Get out and be sure to lock the driver's side door behind you. You are not alone here. Go into the house and close the door behind you. Upon walking in, you will notice the house to be ice cold and dimly lit. There will be a kitchen on one side and a small living room/dining room on the other. There will be a short hallway with one door on each side, but only one will be unlocked. Try the knobs until you find the unlocked one, and once you've done so, immediately step inside and lock it from the inside. Both rooms will be lit by a single dim light bulb in the ceiling and will have only one window. Make damn certain that it is shut, locked, and curtains drawn. If the room you entered has only a small table with an old black rotary phone atop it and a single chair in front of it, then count yourself very lucky. Sit down in the chair and pick up the receiver and set it on the desk. Dial the numbers 77090, followed by the 2-digit number of the day, month, and 4-digit year which you were born, in exactly that order. Then place the phone to your ear. Dial as slowly as you need to ensure you don't make a mistake. You will only have one chance to do this. You will hear a soft static hiss for a few seconds before the line starts ringing. After exactly 4 rings, a raspy male voice will say, "Tell me your truth." You must now confess 3 situations where you have lied to, stolen from, hurt, or generally wronged someone in your life, close or otherwise, from which you never came clean to said person about. They don't necessarily have to be super heart-wrenching or wicked acts, nor do you have to include every minute detail, but just be honest. Do not, for the love of Christ, make anything up or tell even one untrue detail. Those of this world will know if you're lying. They are right outside the door, listening with intent. If you tell even the slightest lie, they will burst through the door, and let's just say that your death will not be quick or merciful in the slightest. If your confessions were deemed to be honest, the same voice will then ask, "What is it that you desire?" You will then tell the voice on the other end what it is that brought you on this journey. The line will immediately cut to a dial tone, at which point simply hang up the phone, leave the house, and return to your vehicle. If, however, the room you enter has a bed and a nightstand with an old mirror and a knife sitting atop it, prepare yourself. Your trial will be much harder. Enter the room, lock the door, and again, be certain that the window is shut, locked, and the curtain drawn. Go and sit on the bed facing the headboard, away from the door. Grab the mirror and the knife and sit them beside you. Now, sit straight up with closed eyes and say clearly the words, "The person I once was is not the person I will continue to be." Sit there with your eyes closed until you hear 2 soft knocks on the door. Now, you must be quick. You have only mere minutes before they break down the door and slaughter you with unrelenting pleasure. Take the knife in your left hand and sever your right ring finger. They will begin knocking louder and louder and will eventually start full-on banging on the door. But do not let this distract you. The pain will be intense, but do not cry out in protest. Tough it out. Bear through the agony and make as little of a scene as you possibly can, for, as before, they are right outside the door. They will take any heavily adverse reaction to pain as weakness, and they despise the weak equally, if not more, than they do the liars. They will see you as unworthy of whatever it is you seek and deal with you as they see fit. Once your finger has been removed, take the severed end and draw an X on the mirror from corner to corner with the blood. At this point, they will almost certainly be seconds away from breaking down the door. Keep focused and continue to drown it out. Once you have drawn an X, cast the knife aside, place the mirror in your lap, and set your severed finger in the center of the mirror. With as much authority and volume as you can muster, say this phrase: I fear not those of this world. I leave behind my blood, flesh, and bone such as my presence will never be forgotten. Come in and take them as a token of my resolve. The banging and thrashing on the door will cease immediately, and seconds later, you will hear the door begin to unlock. When you hear this, close your eyes, steady yourself, and stay as still as possible. You will hear the door open slowly and hear footsteps come toward you. As they come closer, you will detect the smell of burnt flesh and rotting meat. You will hear their breathing, guttural and raspy. It will sound more animalistic than human, but they are neither human nor animal. They are far more horrific than any creature or demonic entity you can imagine. Do not open your eyes or move a muscle. If you do either, you are done for. They will stop right behind you, and it will feel as if they are breathing down your neck. The smell will be unbearable, and their very presence will make your body tremble with primal fear. They will stand there behind you for several minutes, and for several minutes you will be scared, in pain, and physically weak from bleeding profusely. But you must sit still and keep your eyes closed. Eventually, you will hear the footsteps begin to retreat, and the smell of rot and burnt flesh will lessen, but remain as you are. Only once you hear the door close behind you may you open your eyes. Upon doing so, you will notice the pain in your finger will be gone, and you will no longer feel weary from the blood loss. Your finger will be healed over from the place you cut it off, though it will still only be a stub. Your severed finger and the red X you drew in blood will be gone, replaced by a key. Leave the mirror behind and exit the room, shutting the door behind you. Use the key to unlock the door on the other side of the hallway. You will find you are now in the room with the desk and the phone. At this point, proceed with the previous instructions from said room. You should now be in your car. Start it up, back out of the driveway onto the road, and proceed in the direction from which you came. However, be advised your trial is not entirely complete. The hardest is yet to come. As you continue to drive back in the direction of the gas station, you will begin to notice dark figures on the side of the road. They will appear to be stationary and will be only in the distance at first. They will, however, start appearing closer to you as you continue to drive. You must pay absolutely no mind to them. They are the same beings whom stalked you in the house. Many of them are the souls of those whom failed this ritual and were captured by the entities of this world, tortured, and turned into one of their kind. They are forever stuck in this strange, desolate realm, living out their eternity in pain and emptiness, with their only purpose being to taunt the other travelers and impose the same fate on those who succumb to their advances. They would love nothing more than to distract you and cause you to deviate from your path. But for as long as you keep focused on the road ahead, avoid the damaging potholes and debris, and pay no mind to whatever they try and do to you, you will survive and acquire whatever it is that led you this far in the first place. Once you begin to notice the figures are only mere feet from the roadside, Place both hands on the wheel, increase your speed, and concentrate only on the road ahead. You will have to drive the same distance as your previous drive to the house, so the slower you go, the longer you will be in danger. Do your best not to give in to their attacks. They will yell at you in loud, unsettling voices, so loud that your eardrums will feel on the verge of bursting. They will throw things at your vehicle or attempt to distract you and cause you to hit a bump or pothole in the attempts to damage it and cause you to wreck. They will try and cause electrical or mechanical failures to cause you to stall out. This is why an ATV or other non-enclosed vehicle is a horrible idea for this journey. These beings will do absolutely everything in their power to stop you and leave you with no manner of escape. If they succeed, you have no chance of getting away. You cannot outrun them on foot, and no weapon from our world will hold them off. If they manage to stop you, and you do have a weapon on you, do yourself a favor and use it on yourself. It will be a much more pleasant fate, I promise. Your only hope of survival is to speed up and try to keep them as far behind you as possible. The more distance you can gain, the less they will be able to do. Your mirrors are covered with tape, and you will have no way of knowing just how close they are to you, or how many are chasing you. This is for your benefit, as seeing them in detail will undoubtedly paralyze you in fear, and looking back in general is a distraction you can't afford. Keep driving. Go as fast as you can while still holding the road and avoiding any obstacles that you encounter. As you make your way further down the road, you will have certainly received some kind of damage to your vehicle from their malicious advances. There will be dozens, maybe even hundreds of them on your tail. The closer you get to the end of the road, the more aggressive they will become. Their screams will be unbearable by now, literally feeling as if they were inside your own head, and their physical attacks on your vehicle will grow in intensity. Around this time, you will also begin to feel tired, nauseous, and your vision will begin to blur. The second you begin to feel this way, push your vehicle as hard as you possibly can while still navigating the road's imperfections. The entities are just feet behind you, and they are attempting to drain your very life force from your body. Consuming your energy makes them stronger and faster. The worse you start to feel, the more powerful and determined they become, and the more incapacitated you will become. If you manage to pull further ahead of them, this attachment will weaken, though you will continue to feel more affected. Gaining distance will not break their hold on you. It'll only buy you time. As you approach closer towards the end of your return trip, your vehicle will definitely have taken a significant beating, and you will undoubtedly be damn near ready to pass out. Your vision will be shaky and distorted, as if you had slammed an entire bottle of hard liquor and feel as though your blood has turned to ice. Your skin will be sunken, pale, and clammy, and your hair will be nearly snow white. If you were able to see your face, you would definitely not recognize or like what you would see. The steering wheel and accelerator will both feel like they weigh a ton, to the point where you can barely keep control of the vehicle. The beings will still be on your tail, screaming even louder and attacking your vehicle even harder. They are nearly parallel to you now, and are minutes away from draining what little energy and life remains in you. By the time you feel as though there is almost no strength or willpower left in you, your weak eyes will behold the familiar lights of the gas station in the distance, and just beyond it, the same thick wall of gray fog covering the road. This is your salvation. This is the end of the road and the doorway back to our world. As soon as you see this, throw every ounce of remaining energy in your body into the accelerator. Forget worrying about the potholes and obstacles. Your only goal is to cross that threshold and leave your pursuers behind. Place both hands on the wheel, gun it, and drive full tilt into the gray abyss. The second you enter the fog, the voices, screaming, and attacks on your vehicle will swiftly begin to subside. Energy and vitality will rapidly begin to return to your body. You will begin to feel as healthy as when you started in mere seconds. The visibility will be as low as before. So, as before, make sure you stay focused on the road in front of you. Only once you no longer hear the relentless screaming of the entities may you begin to let off the gas and slow your vehicle back down to a more leisurely speed. After exactly 1 minute, the fog will once again start to thin out and the visibility will improve. Once it is clear, you will now notice that you are now back in your own world, at the same point on the road where you first encountered the fog at the beginning of the ritual. If you were to look at any timekeeping device you have, you will notice that only 3 minutes will have passed. If you have survived to this point, then congratulations. You have successfully completed the ritual. You have proven yourself worthy of your desires and brave enough to acquire it. You can now pull over to the side of the road and remove the black tape from your mirrors. Feel free to take a moment to collect yourself a bit, if you must. Give yourself a pat on the back, laugh, cry, or do whatever you feel like doing to celebrate your well-earned success. Whenever you're satisfied, simply proceed back to the beginning of the highway you took to get to where you are and return home. You will be granted what it is you asked for within 1 week's time. I cannot tell you exactly how this will happen, as everyone's situation is unique, but you will know when you receive it, as it will present itself in an obvious enough manner. You will, of course, have to deal with having one less finger and a reasonably dented up vehicle, but certainly, whatever it is you asked for will more than make up for the inconveniences if you were willing to do such a ritual in the first place. And if for some reason you do find yourself desperately wishing for something else in your life, perhaps you will once again find yourself at the same crossroads on the 13th day of the next month, ready to take another late night drive.